So, with the mother of my kids having fallen ill, I have had my girls much longer than usual. And because I do not have internet at my house, I haven't been able to get to any movies or any reviews for days now. Typically, when they leave is when I get my movie watching in. So, if anyone's wondering where I've been, that is what's going on, because this is October and there's a ton of shit coming out right and left, and I'm falling behind and I am going to try to catch up. So let's start with Vampires versus the Bronx. Now, this is a Netflix original that came out on October the 2nd. I actually watched this like 3 days ago, but I haven't had really any time to sit down and talk about it. But that being said, this is about a young kid who's trying to save a local shop that he likes in town, and these investors are coming in and they're buying up every store. They're buying up the Bronx, and this kid's trying to save his hometown, trying to run these guys out of town, and so these guys end up being vampires, as the title would suggest. And so these kids, of course, stumble upon this fact and try to out them or stop them. No one ever, of course, believes them. You know how this goes. Now, this is very, very much a horror comedy, much more on the comedy side of things. And it plays for probably 12 and up crowd. It's like a family friendly movie. It might be a little much for like small kids. And when it comes to too much, I just mean like the humor and such might be over their head, I suppose, because there's nothing really all that horrific going on here. We're very light on the horror. The horror is probably the worst part of the movie. All the horror is very tropey. It's uninspired. It's not unique or original or cool or scary or any of the above. So when it comes to the horror aspects of it, it's just kind of passable. It's vampires being vampires, nothing you've ever not seen before. So now, where the film does mostly succeed for myself is with the characters. We have these three main kids here who are going around, and we kind of got this summer of 84 meets like a Monster Squad, or that's what they're going for, at least. Are these as memorable of characters as something like that? No, not to me. While I did like the kids, and I did think they had good chemistry, and I thought that they gave a good on-screen performance for what they were, asked of them for this type of film, I think that they did succeed there. So the kids were good, and the film did succeed in the tone it was going for with these kids and the plot. But I never really laughed. I never had anything more than maybe a smile on my face. And with a comedy like this that is trying to land jokes, I just felt underwhelmed by that aspect of it. In the end, I just found the film to be fine. Like, I was like, I watched it. It was cute. It was a fun little family attempt at horror comedy. But overall, I mean, it had some familiar faces. Zoe Salonda, is that how you say her name? She's in it for like a minute. And then Sarah Gold, girl from 11/22/63, and she's been in a few things. She's beautiful, my good God. And she's in this quite a bit. She's like the new woman in town. She's a white woman, so everyone's like, why the fuck you living here? And she's like overly sweet, and she's as beautiful as ever here. I mean, she's just as gorgeous as she was ever. But yeah, I don't know. As good as of a job as I thought the kids did, I think because their jokes weren't landing for me, even though I found it cute, I didn't connect. if that makes sense. Like, I was like, oh yeah, these kids are doing a good job, and like, I don't want to see them die or anything, but at the same time, I wasn't like rooting for them as well. So I didn't find myself all that much invested, and they needed to kind of land me more through the humor of it, and an adequate job just didn't suffice. So, but I know, I know this is kind of a split film right now. Some people who are really loving it. It's all across the board. Um, and I think the general consensus on it is people are liking it a little more than me, but I don't see a lot of people loving it. So I think I'm just kind of a little bit on the lower end of the general, but maybe I'm wrong on that, and we'll see in the comments. But yeah, anyways, I'm going to jump over to the Blumhouse reviews now, the Amazon originals, The Lie, and Black Box. So, adios.